We're 5 days from National Signing Day, and Georgia's trying to run down Alabama for that top spot. UGA sits at number 2 right now, but the Dogs have a few monsters still left out on the board. Let's bring on UGA recruiting insider Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy, one of the biggest names still left out on the board is Damon Wilson, 5-star edge out of Venice, Florida. He announced his decision on signing day. What are you hearing about this UGA Ohio State battle?
It's definitely coming down to the buzzer there. I know he has a state championship game on Friday or Saturday. Not a whole lot going on as far as visits this week. He's really focused on, winning that football game. They won a championship last year, so I'm interested to see what happens once that's over. I think he's probably close to it. I've heard he's close to a decision. If not, he's probably made one. He just hadn't made it public or told the coaches about what's going to happen. So I feel like I put in a prediction for Georgia. I still like that prediction to play out on signing day.
Could be huge. Would be another 5-star addition. Just about 2 weeks ago, Dogs landed 5-star edge Samuel Mpimba out of IMG Academy. Let's stay on the 5-star theme, Jeremy. Deuce Robinson, not making his decision during the early signing period, but the number 1 tight end in the country and 5-star tight end is going to make his decision in February. Do you think the Dogs have done enough to stay in this race for the next 6 weeks?
I think if it were today, this week, I feel like they would be in a good spot. But they've got to hang on for the next couple weeks, couple months. Obviously there's a baseball aspect there for him.
Right.
Georgia already has 2 tight ends in their class, so I don't think that the numbers game will be an issue there. I feel like they would take 3, and then they're also after Walker Lyons, former Stanford commit, that is also kind of settling between Georgia and USC. The thing there is that Georgia may have an opportunity to send him on a mission. He's a guy that may go on a mission at some point and, maybe not even be in college his first year. So that would be big for them to try to get Deuce on board. And I think that would be a big selling point to say, hey, if we do take 3 or 4 guys, you're still the guy that can come in and help and have a big role, especially in an offense. You've seen what Brock Bowers can do, obviously how they use Darnell Washington. So I do feel like Georgia's in a good spot right now, but that one's far from over.
Yeah, the proof of concept in terms of UGA using tight ends is certainly there. Let's move on to Jordan Hall. He's a 4-star defensive lineman out of the Jacksonville, Florida area. Now, Jordan has been high on Georgia this entire time, but he has delayed his decision. He's not going to announce on signing day. He's going to wait one more day for fans to find out where he's going. What are you hearing on Jordan Hall as we head into this final weekend?
Yeah, I also like where Georgia is on this one. I think they've kind of been the favorite there for a long time, and I feel like I haven't heard anything that makes me feel otherwise recently. Anyway, he's been on campus a lot. I know the other commits really like him, and he plays a big position of need right now. I think Georgia has tried to land a guy in that spot for the last couple months. Obviously, David Hobbs was one that was kind of they were in the running for, and then there was a little bit of buzz on Joshua Horton for a while. So, I feel like he's a guy that they have targeted. He's probably one of the top priorities left between him and Damon Wilson, like we just mentioned, and Deuce Robinson. So I feel good about that one. So,
all right, now let's get into the juicy stuff. Who are some of the long shots that UGA could take a big swing or maybe even flip? Like here's a good example. They were working on Justice Haynes, 5-star running back commitment from Alabama, but Justice came out yesterday and basically said, no more, I'm locked in, I'm signing with Alabama. So now I start hearing news about Kyron Jones, NC State commitment, running back that goes 6'1", 195. Is he a flip target for Georgia down the stretch?
Absolutely. I feel like Georgia, he took an official there recently. I feel like he's a guy that they've kind of circled, and they're trying to get in there and try to get him late. It's clear they want a second back, and he's the guy. Once Justice Haynes kind of made his intentions clear, he's the next guy up. So I feel like there's an opportunity there. Or there's also an opportunity for Georgia to go into the transfer portal and find another back. They want another guy. So I think that would be the first name that comes to mind, though, when it comes to, hey, looking at guys to flip. A guy like Sadir Mitchell, commit to Texas, is a guy that, they have been, lurking a little bit there as well. So we'll see.
Okay, not a flip, but he's still out there on the board, and that's five-star athlete Nicholas Harbor. Not just any athlete, but the #1 athlete in America. He's going to make his decision in February because he runs track in the spring, so he's not an early enrollee. But what is Georgia's approach to Nicholas Harbor, and what position are they recruiting him for?
You know, I don't know that anyone knows, to be honest, just because of he's such an athlete, such a great athlete. I mean, I saw on the roster for the Under Armour game, he'll be playing tight end there. So maybe that's kind of where he is leaning in college, and that'll kind of tell us, what teams have him on their board. But as far as Georgia, I feel like he would be an edge or a tight. I think he would just be taken as a true athlete for them.
Get him on campus and figure it out later, right? With an athlete like that, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a figure it out later situation. I don't know that Georgia's like really, involved there as much as, it seems. I think they're kind of in the background, kind of lurking, depending on what happens with Damon Wilson.
True.
And some of these tight ends.
And also the fact that he's not making his decision till February, UGA can kind of see what they land in the early period and then, figure out what they want to do with Harbor afterward. But what would you consider the strength of Georgia's 2023 recruiting class as it stands now?
Probably that linebacker group. That linebacker group is really good. Raylan Wilson's a really good football player that could come in and help, early on in his career. Georgia rotates those guys a lot. Obviously, you got Troy Bowles, another four-star player, and also C.J. Allen, just another, Georgia guy. He's another really good football player. He plays both ways for his high school. I mean, he's been spectacular as a running back over here at Lamar Comprehensive. So I feel like he's going to be a guy that could develop into a big-time player for him as well. So that linebacker group is really, really, really strong. And, they got some guys that are playing there right now that'll be, the guys for the next few years. But that group will be right there to replace them. Also, I like the edges as well. Obviously, Sam and Pimba. Gabriel Harris is a guy that, it couldn't get to Georgia and really pop just because he's one of those South Georgia kids, and they play football differently down there. Very physical, very long and athletic player that, I think Georgia will really enjoy having on campus in the spring.
All right, to wrap this up, give me your sleeper pick from this class. I know UGA is the #2 class in America, so it's hard to say anybody in the class is a sleeper, but, somebody that might not be as highly ranked as some of the guys at the top, but you think will make a major impact at Georgia before their career's over.
I think a guy like Jamal Jarrett, he's a 4-star, but, he's not one of those highly, top 100 type players. I feel like he just kind of plugs a need, and he's going to play a similar role to what Jordan Davis did. I don't think he's as athletic as Jordan was, but just as far as, character, I think he'll be a fan favorite with the fans just because of his personality and the way he plays really hard, very physical. So to me, the guy like Jamal Jarrett is the sleeper guy of this class. I think he'll have a huge impact of what Georgia likes to do defensively, playing that nose tackle.
All right. Well, here we are, Georgia sitting at #2 overall, just a couple days from signing day. Jeremy Johnson, thanks for checking in with us on the Inside Scoop. Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.